this is what I enjoy the most about software architecture, is it's an opportunity to think about what really simple rules get at the essence of what some complex thing is. And I think that if we embrace that and we're very intentional about that, we can achieve what I think is the hope of most developers, that you want your code to sort of come to life, right? In different forms, your code comes to life. It does things maybe you didn't expect. But these three ideas, I think for me, they come back a lot to this idea of modularity, something being modular versus something being combinatorial. And we spend a lot of time talking about modularity, but I think that's not exactly what we mean. One of my co-founders, Jeff Johnston, he was helping a friend move a fridge or something like this, and they slid it out from the wall, and they saw this sticker, and his friend said, "Oh, wow, that would be like a cool Tetris component." And Jeff was sort of like, "No, actually, that would be like a horrible Tetris component," which was kind of a jerky thing to say, because his friend was just making small talk while moving furniture. But it was really interesting. What Jeff was getting at was that, yes, there is some other hypothetical Tetris shape that will connect with that shape. So it is modular, they'll connect together. But it's not combinatorial. If I rotate that thing around, the space that remains is not a good fit for another Tetris shape, right? It's really ugly. There's only one way that thing fits together. And when he shared this anecdote with me, which I then stole and I put it on my talks, I think it's really fascinating to think about. Just because something's modular, meaning it can plug together, doesn't mean it's combinatorial. And the combinatorial piece is what makes Tetris great. It's not that two shapes can fit together. It's that any shape has multiple ways of fitting with any other shape. The last point I want to make is that it's not just about allowing more work to be done. It's about allowing categorically different work to be done. I think that's a key point. When you look at what happened in the 80s and the 90s with music sampling, the technology got to the point that something that was monolithic, a song, could get decomposed into not just modular pieces, right? Because sampling isn't just about being modular, it's about being combinatorial. The song got decomposed into combinatorial pieces. And you can see on the left, those are all the albums that got sampled when that technology came out, and it resulted in all of these albums over here. And the point is that it wasn't just more music, it was a categorically different genre of music. And that's what I get the most excited about when I think about software architecture, is that with the right abstractions, you allow not just more software to make it in the world, but you open up the potential for entirely different genres of software to make it out into the world. So let's end by looking at this guy, right? We can sort of look at this now, and I first looked at this and I thought, man, this is super kludgy. But a lot of the principles I talked about something being combinatorial, that's what instruments are. You don't have to play two instruments together. You can play lots of instruments together in different ways. Object-oriented versus functional, it's actually interesting to think about the parts of his machine that are stateful versus the parts of his machine that are stateless. If you talk about loose coupling, right? There's very few things that are more loosely coupled than having a marble drop 20 feet, right? So he's created this basically by applying those same principles. And I think that's because when we talk about a technology model versus a mental model, he knows that his tech model is about sound, but his mental model is about music, right? And that's what he's keeping in mind. So let's see what he ended up with. He has to spin up the server first. Then, it takes a while to start up if you're not using Docker. And then you got to get all the messages into the message queue. It's lossy. You'll see the marbles on the floor. Make sure the ports are open. everybody thinking he was crazy to devote his time on a machine just to make a single drum keep time. But it wasn't. It was to create a combinatorial environment that isn't about making instruments, it's about making music. So, you know, all of us in this room, we make instruments, we make tools for other people to use, and I hope you'll think about how you can take those tools that you make and help people make music from it. Thank you very much.